Oh yeah, we do this. Oh yeah, we're right back where we're supposed to be. Oh yeah, week 16 NFL. We're all right here in the right spot at the right time. So let's get configured. Let's get our wits about us and let's do the right thing at the right time with the right people. What you're looking at, what this shit right here is, this shit right here, this shit right here, this shit right here, this is Tea Time Tailgate. And I'm your host, Tony Murr. And if you're watching, if you are a believer in Christmas, if you are a believer in Hanukkah, if you celebrate Kwanzaa, if you are a little elf, if you are a reindeer, if you're Santa Claus himself, it do not matter. If your eyes are fixed upon me, if you are hearing the words coming out of my mouth, if you are bought in to what you're currently consuming, then you over there, yes you, I'm looking right at you, you are teed up. We're officially teed up over here. What Tea Time Tailgate is, if you don't know, you should know, but I'll still tell you. Tea Time Tailgate is a NFL weekly pregame show. So you've seen CBS, you've seen Fox, you've seen ESPN, and these are the shows that have been around for years. But if you're like me, you're sitting around, you're thinking to yourself, why is it the same every week? Why am I seeing Miss Ponder and Miss Brewski, Randy Moss? These are goats in the game. I love these people, but why hasn't anything changed in recent years? I've been watching the same NFL pregame show since my dad originally showed me 25 plus years ago, 20 plus years ago, 15 plus years ago, how many plus years ago it could be. This is new and reinvented. You want to be on the new and the cutting edge. You want to be ahead of the curve. You want to be doing things that other people are not because there's some inherent value in that. This is the new age. This is the new NFL pregame show. And the reason being is because we play it real loose over here. We don't have any producers. We don't have a channel to follow along with. This is just me, myself, and Irene. This is Tony Murr, Tea Time, directly to you. No filter, nothing going on. We can talk about the exact things that we want to talk about in these games because we can talk X's and O's all day long. We could say, this team likes to play cover two, and the team that's going against them, they're really good against the cover two. That ain't what's going on here. What we're talking about is going to line your pockets fatly. What we're talking about here is going to make you feel like you're Scrooge McDuck because one of your rooms is all flooded with gold. Shout out to Gunna. This is going to line your pockets. This is going to win you your fantasy football leagues. So it's important that you tune in right here. So what we're going to talk about is, so a part of this NFL pregame show, if you haven't been able to tell, is we're going to be talking best bets. We're going to be talking fantasy football. I know the playoffs are right now, probably the semifinals for most of you. So you're going to want to get your correct lineups in and make sure that you're not making any mistakes. You uncovered every sort of rock. You looked under every sort of haystack and needle stack that you could to make sure that you're doing everything in your possible being to make all the right decisions possible. So best bets, fantasy football advice, that's all right here. And then thirdly, and this probably is the most important part of it all, is Football Sunday optimization. And let me explain to you what I mean by optimizing your football Sundays. So we're all the way in week 16 of the NFL. If you are an NFL fan, if you're watching this, you are an NFL fan. There's only 18 regular season weeks, then we're on to the playoffs. As soon as the NFL season comes, it goes. It goes so quickly. So what I want you to do is stop and smell the roses for a little bit. Recognize where we are, and I don't want you to be sad about it. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to bring it in and embrace it with all its glory. Week 16 of the NFL, we have a great slate of football going on here. We have fantasy football playoffs, something that you've worked all season for. And at the very, very least, this is a great Sunday that you can fully enjoy. This is the week of Christmas. I think if you're not a Christmas celebrator, if you don't believe in Christmas, you could at least say that you're going to have some time off this week. Most people in the working world are going to have some time off this week. And at the very, very least, it's going to be, well, some people, this is going to be a more busy week than others. And for those of you, I thank you because we need you out there. But for most people, this is going to be a slow down week. This fucking camera is going to be the death of me. I need it focused. Okay? So, fucking pissed. I'm fucking pissed. All right, hold on. Bringing this. Oh, we're too low. Bringing the situation up north. Yeah, I want you to see that. I want you to see that. Okay. So this week, at the very, very least, for most of us, is going to be a very lax week, a very going through the motions type of week when it comes to work. So that's usually what prevents you from fully enjoying your Sundays because you're always worried about the work week ahead. You got a big work week ahead. You got a big Monday. This is not a week that you have to worry about. And because of that, we can have so much fun doing what we do here. And we get so much fun with the entire Sunday that we got ahead of us. So I want you to make plans with your friends. I want you to make plans with your family. Say, let's go out to eat later. Hey, everyone come over. Let's watch some football. Hey, you want some appetizers? You like chips and dip? I can bring over some chips and dip. Bring all that to the forefront, to the right place, because this is a Sunday that you need to fully enjoy, especially because there aren't very many left. All right, so now that I've set the stage for you all and you know how to enjoy this Sunday, let's go into. I unplugged and now I'm a little thrown. I'm a little thrown. Okay, I kind of want to plug back in just cause. Do I plug back in? No. Okay. So without further ado, let's get to the main meat of the program. The reason why we're all here is to line these pockets up. Let's get into the picks. Let's get into the games. We got some good games ahead of us. This first game is not one of those good games. It's the Kansas City Chiefs going against the Tennessee Titans. Titans are +3 at home. The over-under is 37.5. Whenever you see an over-under in the 30s, you can automatically assume this game is going to be terrible. This is not a game that you're going to want to watch, and I agree with that. I totally agree with that type of sentiment. The Chiefs, their playoff hopes are done. Patrick Mahomes is out for the season. We got Gardner Minshew at the helm. Really, this is probably the first time the Chiefs have been able to quote-unquote chill in all of their recent football seasons since they've been on this magical run where they went to maybe 5 AFC championships in a row. So this is the first game that they're out of playoff contention and they have no pressure on them. And are they a team that needs the pressure in order to perform, or can they really get loose with it? I can imagine that Andy Reid at this point, he's like, we have Minshew in there. He's the purveyor of fun. He's the most fun quarterback that you could probably have as a backup. We don't have Mahomes anymore. Let's just have fun with it. Let's just have fun with it. Let's enjoy it for what it is. Like it's much like his sentiment he has the same sentiment as us for week 16 is there's not very many weeks of football left. Let's enjoy it while we still can. The Titans, for them, they're an awful team. Last week, the week before, this week, next week, they're an awful team this whole year. I think the Chiefs, despite not having Patrick Mahomes, they're still a playoff team around the edges. Mahomes is the engine that makes it go, along with Andy Reid, which they still have, and they still have all those good players. Rashee Rice is out today. I still like the Chiefs today, -3. I think a lot of people have probably been betting the Chiefs over and over again these past couple weeks. Is like, this is their time to win. This is their time to win, and they have not been winning. I think the Titans are that bad. I think the Chiefs not being able to play for anything, they're going to be very lax. Andy Reid probably going to have some fun play calls in there. I like the Chiefs in this one still. And then this is a thing that you need to watch for going into these last couple weeks. People have milestones to hit. People have incentives to hit. They need X amount more yards, X amount more grabs, X amount more touchdowns to hit their incentives. And these incentives could be $500,000, $1 million. Kelsey is one of these guys. He's not incentivized by this, but he's going for a streak of 1,000-yard reception seasons, 1,000-yard seasons receiving the ball. So I like Kelsey here. If you saw the ending of that game, Minshew really found some comfortability. I'm going to fucking kill this camera. God damn it. Give me some fucking focus. Do your job. Do your fucking job. So, if you watched the end of that game last week, you saw that Kelsey was getting a lot of action when Minshew went into the game. When it's a backup quarterback, the easiest person to find is your tight end. He's going to be running those 5-yard in-cutting routes that are just right there in front of you, so easy to find. I like Kelsey for over 4.5 grabs today. They're going to want him to get over 1,000 yards for the season. And you can't do that unless he catches the ball. So I got the Chiefs -3, and I got Kelsey over 4.5 grabs this game. This is a game, though, like I said, once you see that over-under in the 30s, you're not going to be putting it on your television. All right, the next game is two other teams that are eliminated from playoff contention. Vikings at Giants. Giants +2.5 at home, over-under 42.5. The Vikings just had a huge win on Sunday night on prime time. That's what everyone's remembering. The Giants, they had a big win. Well, not a big win, but they won the game. They beat the Commanders last week. Both these teams coming off a win. Both these teams coming off scoring a lot of points. So both the spread and the over-under make no sense to me. I feel like this is the most suckerish thing to do here is to bet the over and to bet the Vikings. Because the Vikings looked great last week. The Giants are a poopy team that barely wins. I don't think the Vikings are officially out of the playoffs yet, but maybe that changed with the Packers-Bears game yesterday. I don't know how the over-under is only 42.5. I think the Giants scored 29 points last week, and the Vikings scored 32 points. I'm not understanding this. I'm going to be a sucker. I'm going to be a sucker, and I'm going to take the Vikings here. I think they're just a better team. I think the Giants are one of their... Because they have Dart, because they've had all that, and because they're in New York and everyone's so excited about them, they've had a lot of unnecessary hype that's going into that team. I don't think they're very good. I'm going to take the Vikings here. It seems like a sucker pick, but sometimes the sucker picks, those work. They'll still work out for you because you can flip-flop either way. Like, this is the sucker pick, so I have to go against the sucker pick, and then you end up doing the wrong thing where the first thing was so obvious to you. That's kind of like this betting thing. That's kind of the song and dance that we do. All right, and then so what we're going to add to this is the Giants defense is bad. This is someone that has been rearing to go. This is someone that he wasn't very involved in the game plan last week. It's Justin Jefferson. Every single week, people probably look at the props for Justin Jefferson and go, why is that so low? Why is that so low? Only 56.5 receiving yards for his over-under. Actually, what I do is at about an hour before the show starts, I sit down and I go through all the games. I make my picks. I went to the Giants-Vikings game, and it was when I first went to it, it was 56.5 receiving yards, and then already got bumped up to 59.5 receiving yards. I don't know if people are betting it. I don't know if Vegas is getting some information to say, watch out for Justin Jefferson this game. I think he could get heavily involved in this game. So I'm picking him to go over 56.5 receiving yards. Giants have a bad defense. They just want to give their main receiver the rock. What I've been crafting, this is like a new thing that I'm doing, is I'm doing like a $10 really long shot parlay. And I have at least two picks on every one of these games, but not all of them are like, oh, these are must-haves. These are must-haves. This is a must-have pick for me, and because it's a part of the parlay. So there's an 8-leg parlay that I have crafted, and this is the first leg of that 8-leg parlay. So follow along with the show for all the nuggets. They're like little Easter eggs. They're gonna come up every so often. There's 7 more after this. That is the first of the 8. All right, moving on, moving up, moving forward. That's what we like to do around here. We got the Bengals at the Dolphins. Dolphins +4.5 at home. Over under 47.5 points. They said, Tua, we seen enough of you. You sucker. No more sucker for you. You're out of here. You're done. You're done for the season. We heavily regret paying you all that money. I'm not sure. The Dolphins have had a fair share of primetime games, and as T-Time and Tony Murray, we watch almost all those primetime games and have it on the show. I've seen enough Dolphins to know that Tua cannot throw the ball over 30 yards. I don't know if it's because of the concussion stuff, but he came off so hot. That Dolphins offense came out so hot, and ever since then, crashing and crashing down. They got Quinn Ewers going in to start for the Dolphins this week. Shout out to Mike O'Brien because it's Texas. Quinn Ewers, Texas. Mike O'Brien, Texas. They're birds of a feather, those two. So we got them coming in. The Bengals coming off a horrible loss where they scored 0, zilch, nada. They didn't score any points last week against the against the Ravens. So for this game, I think the Bengals are a better team. The Dolphins are not a good team, but I think what's going to happen is this is going to have to be the ultimate coaching job for McDaniel in Miami. He needs to show that it's not my fault we lose all these games. It's Tua's. So he's going to be scheming and crafting something so perfect for you as to say, this is all you need to do for us to win this game. And I don't even think they'll win this game, but it'll be close enough where they can stay in contention. I got the Dolphins plus 4.5 at home. I got the over 47.5 points. Both these teams, well, maybe not so much the Dolphins. The Bengals can score points despite what they did last week. And I think, like I said, it's gonna be the ultimate coaching job today. They're gonna have to show that they have a good offense without Tua to show that, hey, it's that guy's fault. It's not my fault. It's that guy's fault. And then we're gonna have to throw in another bet as well. This is a bet. I have three bets in this game, and this is a little nugget. This is the second leg of the 8-leg parlay that we got going today. $10 to win 1,600. Tell me how it loses. Tell me how it loses. Chase Brown to score a touchdown. A little prime for you. Chase Brown for a touchdown plus 100 right there. Even odds. So those are the two. We already got 2 nuggets for you in that 8-leg parlay. Let me get some water. Another difference between Tony Murr and Tea Time. No commercial breaks. Just straight from Tea Time Studios to you for an hour straight. Buckle in. Buckle in. I like to point out my record too. I'd like to point out my record. When you're picking this many picks, it's hard to stay over 500. We just went from the 48% mark to the 49% mark. We're rounding up. We're rounding up. That's a decimal. But we're almost back at 100. We went 19 and 15 last week. But what's the most important thing, the most important numbers to pay attention to over here? 10 and 4 on the Mortal Locks. And I got a Mortal Lock for you as always. It's almost like, why even have the hour show when we're just waiting for the Mortal Lock? We'll keep going. We'll keep the show moving forward. Jets at Saints. So, honestly, all these teams, these first 4 games, despite me saying this is a great slate of football, these first 4 games, all 8 of these teams are eliminated from playoff contention. And you could probably feel good not watching any of these games. I probably won't watch a second of them. Jets at Saints. Saints minus 6.5. The over-under is 40.5. The Jets got almost 50-pieced last week by the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Saints last week, they had a big win against the Panthers. Shuck is kind of looking like the guy in New Orleans. The performance was so bad on the defensive side of the ball for the Jets that their defensive coordinator got fired. I don't think it's his fault that he's literally dealing with almost practice squad defensive backs all up and down that team. It's a skeleton crew that they're throwing out there. They need the season to end, and they needed it to end weeks ago. It's getting bad. 6.5 points I kind of thought was a lot for the Saints. It moved from 5.5 to 6.5. I kind of wanted to go on the Jets, but this movement towards the Saints made me not want to move it. That line moving made me not want to bet on the spread. And when you don't want to bet on the spread, you always bet on what? People. Evan would know this. Stevie Splits would know this if I asked him. He screwed me. He screwed me badly today. You screwed me, Stevie. But look at this. I'm doing it all myself. But it don't matter. When you don't like the spread, you bet on the over. Over 40.5 points. The Saints offense is decent. The Saints offense is decent. They're going to do just... The Saints defense is decent too, so watch out for that. But they're going to do enough. They're going to score 27 points today. They're going to score 27 points today. The Jets are going to score 17 points today. 27-17. That is 44. That's going to be over 40.5 points. Seems like it's a mistake that it's that low. Seems like I'm a sucker going with the over, but here we are, and we're moving. And then that guy Shuck. I bet on a Shuck prop last week. He shucked me. He bucked me. We're going back in on him, though. Like I said, skeleton crew for the Jets today. We got Shuck to pass for over 213.5 passing yards. Don't do 213. Do 214, Shuckster. We're going to have that for you, too. All right, we're moving on. This is our first good game of the slate. This is our first good game. This is a 1 o'clock game as well. All the teams are playing. All the byes are over. A lot of football to be played. We got Buccaneers, NFC East. No, sorry, NFC South matchup. Buccaneers at Panthers. Panthers +3 at home. Over under 45.5 points. I got a lot of must-do bets for this one. So this is for so there's 3 weeks of the season left. The Buccaneers are playing the Panthers. This matchup is happening 2 of these last 3 weeks. If they split, most likely the Bucs are going to go to the playoffs. If the Panthers win both, whoever wins both is going to go in the playoffs. This is one of the shittiest divisions in football. I think that's probably going to split. I think it's going to go 1-1. These teams, despite the talent on the field, are actually almost equal in my eyes. I don't think the Buccaneers are that much better than the Panthers. If you are a true tea timer, you'll be cognizant. You'll know of my future bets. I have 4 future bets going that are division winners. And this is where it gets to crunch time. I have the Buccaneers winning this division. So I'm really going to be hoping and praying for them this game. But I do know the Carolina Panthers at home and as underdogs are a different team. They perform differently than when they're on the road, and especially when they're favorites. They were a favorite on the road last week. They're not good enough to be a road favorite ever. The Buccaneers got embarrassed on the national stage last week on Thursday with a little bit more time to rest. They're going to come out guns blazing, the Buccaneers. So you're going to want to pay attention to this bet. The first bet that I have, I have 3 more legs to go along with my 8-leg parlay. We already gave you 2. These are 3 more just on this game. The Buccaneers -1.5 in the first quarter. They're going to be coming out firing. They're going to be winning this quarter at least 7-0 by the end of this first quarter. Secondly, over 64.5 receiving yards for Michael Evans. If you saw him last game, he was so heavily involved in the offense, and he was one of the most pissed off people on the team when they lost. He was almost throwing a tantrum on the sidelines. They're going to put the ball in his hands and make it work. Over 64.5 yards for Evans, another leg of the parlay. This is the 5th leg of the parlay, 5th leg of the 8-leg parlay, 3rd one from this game. Mike Evans touchdown. When they get to the 1-yard line, when they get basically 5 yards and into the end zone, that's exactly who they're looking for. He's been gone for most of the season. Because of injury. They want to get him in the end zone. They want to get him involved. He's kind of like the heart of this team, him and Baker Mayfield. Evans for a touchdown. That's another part of the 8-leg parlay. And I would not be Tony Murr. This would not be the Tea Time Tailgate if I did not have a pick for this game other than props. I'm not going to be ruined for this. I'm not going to actually be betting this, but I think it's a smart bet. The Panthers +3. I like them to possibly win this game. I think they can cover this 3-point spread at home. They're a good home team. I'm officially scared. Out of all my picks, when you asked me a few weeks ago, out of all my division winner picks, I felt the best about the Buccaneers. And now their season has gone quite to shit. They don't look like a good team, but they can still win this division. So I'm not going to be betting it because of my future purposes, but from my mouth to your ears, I want to be able to give you something. I want to be able to get you some money. I do think the Panthers are a good play. All right, going to the next game. This is also a decent game. Chargers at Cowboys. Cowboys -1.5 at home. Over under 50.5 points. I mean, we all saw the Cowboys lose last week on primetime. Everyone does not want to believe in the Chargers, including myself, but they keep winning games. What's confusing to me is why the Cowboys would be a favorite here. The Chargers are a playoff team. They've been performing well recently. The Cowboys have been losing games. I do not know how the Cowboys are a favorite here, and that's exactly why we're going with them. It doesn't make sense, and I feel like what I just said about this game is exactly what Vegas wants people to be saying. I felt like that was the most suckerish thing to say. But I still am going to go with the Cowboys. All I know is that the Cowboys, they will make you believe they are a better team than they are. So I think they officially, yes, with the Eagles win, if the Eagles lost yesterday, the Cowboys still had a chance to win the NFC East. That is not happening anymore. Their playoff hopes are over. And I think a team that
like kind of like the Chiefs earlier. Now they can play loose. Now they have no pressure, no expectations. I think they're going to be high flying. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. And then this prop bet. This prop bet. This prop bet's called the Get Yourself a Suite at the Hampton into the end zone. So that's almost a double play. We got Hampton into the end zone. Amari and Hampton for a touchdown plus 100. Cowboys defense not that good. Cowboys run defense not that good. Omari and Hampton do get them in the end zone. Get yourself a suite at the Hampton Inn into the end zone. Follow me here. I'm not. I'm not solving world hunger right now. We're not building a rocket ship. I'm just taking you from here to here. Straight line. All right. Next game. Also a crappy game. So, really, if we're breaking this down here, this is the last game of the 1 o'clock slate. If we're breaking this down here, there's only 2 good games in this 1 o'clock slate, which is sad. But the good games come on later, and I mean, we'll be thankful for that. This is the time of year that you don't say, "Oh, I wish I had this. I wish I had that." This is a time to be grateful and thankful. So let's start with that first and foremost. All right, Bills at Browns. Browns plus 10.5 at home. Over under 40.5 points. The Browns got demolished last week by the Bears. I think it was 31-3. That game was in Chicago. The Bills last week, they had their quote unquote Super Bowl of the season so far, beating the Pats, coming back from 21-0. That hurt me. That really hurt me. I think this is kind of a letdown spot for the Bills. They'll still win this game. They're not going to lose this game, but 10.5 points for a home team, that's a lot of points. And the Browns are going to want to have to show something. The Bears defense compared to the Bills defense. Bears defense probably a little bit better. They were playing in almost like sub-degree temperatures, but this is another game where I couldn't decide on the spread. If I were, I'd probably go with the Browns, but this is what I did last week. I said, I don't know why I'm picking the Browns. I'm just gonna pick them, and then that lost. And I had the same thought going into this game. I'm not gonna fall into that same trap. You get fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. Well, how's the saying go? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Exactly. So this would be shame on me if I was gonna pick the Browns again. And what happens when you don't like the spread? Stevie splits. What do? You pick the over in his mittens. Yes, we're going to pick the over in this one. 40.5 is a big point total for a Browns game. You're mostly seeing the lowest spreads, the lowest point totals that you've seen in games this year have been along with Browns games. There's been 34, 35.5. There's been 36.5, 37.5, 38.5. It's all the way up to 40.5. I'm going to have to go over on that one. I think the Bills do what they need to do on offense. 3 touchdowns from the Bills. 24. We're going 24. 24-17. I said the same thing about. This was the same point total in the Jets-Saints game, and I said the same score. No, I said 27-17. 21-17 in this one. No, 24. 24-17 in favor of the Bills. That's me on my Quasimodo shit. That's me seeing into the future. That's so Raven. Also, got 2 prop bets in this game. Shedeur Sanders. This is a insulting prop bet. His over-under for passing touchdowns is set at 0.5. So he just needs to throw 1 passing touchdown to win that bet. I'm going to take that. I think they scored 2 touchdowns today. 1 is my next bet. This other bet that I have is over. Yeah, so they're going to score 2 touchdowns today. 1 is going to be a Shedeur Sanders throwing touchdown. The odds aren't great on that one. Minus 168. Pay 168. Make 100 back. I think that's a fine bet. But Judkins is also going to get a touchdown today. As much as it pains me to say this, because this guy, Nate, you've seen him. I played him in the fantasy playoffs last week. He had Judkins. He beat me. I'm out of the playoffs. I don't want Judkins to get in there, but he is gonna. Let's take a little. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see if anyone wanted to get a part of the show here. Let's see I'm making some plans too. Don't hate me because I got plans. Don't hate me because I got plans. Okay. All right. That is moving on. That is moving up. That is moving forward. Okay. That is the last game of the 1 o'clock slate, and we're about halfway through the show, so it's perfect. We are going to the 4 o'clock slate. This first game, Atlanta Falcons versus the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals plus 2.5 at home, over under 48.5 points. Another shitty game. These two teams are eliminated from playoff contention. So we're kind of lining the board with shitty games at first. It's going to be changing soon just based on this sheet and what I'm looking at. This could be the biggest sucker play of all time. I'm feeling like a sucker, but sometimes these suckers get paid. Watch out, that could be illegal service in some places. Don't, except in Vegas, don't. Done with that. What's going to happen? What's going to happen here? The Falcons scored a ton of points last week. The Cardinals, despite going against the best defense in the NFL, scored 20 points last week miraculously. Both these teams are going to be throwing the ball. The Cardinals like to push the ball downfield. I wouldn't say either of these defenses are good. I'm going with the over in this game, 48.5. It's a high over-under. I'm scared, but I'm taking the over in this game. This was an odds. I saw the odds on this game, on this prop, and I was absolutely shocked. I think this could be almost an even money bet, and we're getting it for plus 400. So what's going to happen is we got Drake London coming back in the mix today. He's coming back for the Falcons. Pitts just had a huge game for them. They're going to be focusing on London. They're going to be focusing on Pitts. But do you know who always finds the end zone for them? Who always gets in the end zone for them? Especially when you got Kirk Cousins at the helm. This is one of his favorite receivers to throw to. Darnell Mooney. Let me see your ass cheeks, Mooney. Plus 410 for a touchdown. God, we love that. God, do we love that pick. Plus 410. That's the juiciest pick I have on my slate so far. But I had to give it to you because it doesn't seem right that it's that high of odds. Also, what I failed to mention, what I can still mention because the show is still going, is this is the 6th leg of my 8-leg parlay. Not the Mooney touchdown. That would be too greedy. The over 48.5. Hey, Mikey, how you doing? Over 48.5. That is the 6th leg of my 8-leg parlay. What do you need, Mike? What do you need, Mike? I'm trying to give you winners right here. But if you got fantasy advice, you could also ask me. You could also ask me, being the guy that is out of the fantasy playoffs to the guy that is in the fantasy playoffs. Make that make sense. But yeah, we're going with that's the 6th leg is the over in this Falcons game. Now, probably, no, definitely, well, the best game that I've said so far, the most exciting game that I've said so far, Jags at Broncos. Two playoff teams. Broncos at home, minus 3.5. The over-under is 46.5. Man. So, going back to what I was saying earlier, I had 4 division winners I picked for futures earlier this year. I already told you I had the Bucks. That's a big game against the Panthers. These are 2 more teams that I had to pick there to win their division: the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Denver Broncos. And they were plus big odds too, almost plus 300 on both of them. So, in an ideal world, I want both of them to win this game. Who can afford a loss more, given their situation, is the Broncos. The Broncos can afford a loss more than the Jags. Houston's nipping at the heels of the Jags, looking to overtake them in the AFC South. So, I mean, this is where I'm not going to be betting on this game because my futures are in the way of this. But in my world, I would like the Jaguars to win this game. I would like the Jaguars to win this game just because of the futures. If I'm telling you what to bet for, if I'm doing my fiduciary duty, shout out to the Fidouche, and telling you how you can make money, I think the public pick, the dull pick, the non-sharp pick, the sucker pick It's the Jags in this game. Everyone just saw them almost score 50 points last week. Everyone's waiting for the Broncos to suck. Everyone keeps waiting for the Broncos to suck. Don't hold your breath because they don't suck. They're good. They're probably going to be the 1 seed in the AFC. I think everyone's going to be betting on the Jags today. Plus 3.5, getting that little kicker of the half. I like the Broncos in this spot. I'm not going to bet it because I need to stay away from this game because of my futures, but I like the Broncos to cover this spread. And I came up with a little nickname for this prop bet. And it's the quarterback for the Denver Broncos. What we're going to call him is Throw 6. Instead of Bo Nix, it's going to be Throw 6 because he's going to be throwing for 6 points today. He had 4 touchdown passes last week. He's going to have at least 2 this week. I picture this game being high scoring. I'm picturing almost all these games being high scoring, which is scary, which is very scary. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Bo Nix, minus 134 on that. Gotta take that. Gotta take that where you can. I'm going to go with that one. All right, another good game here. These are two teams that are really right on the cusp of the playoffs. The Steelers are just into the playoffs. The Lions are just out. Steelers at Lions. Lions minus 7 at home. Over under 51.5 points. This is a game where everyone talks about, this is what they talk about. The Lions at home, the Lions off of a loss, they always win those games. And they cover the spread too. The Steelers getting 7 points in any situation under Mike Tomlin, that is too many points. I'm not comfortable laying the line here. But the Lions off of a loss, they're hot. The Lions, if I were to place a bet today that was the most, well, there's a game later on, but up until this point, if I were to pick a matchup, pick a game where I put your life savings on something and you need to come back with money, it would be the Lions to win this game. They are absolutely winning this game. There's no shot that they lose. But I think 7's almost too many points to be laying against this Steelers team. I got a lot of bets in this game, though, because when you got a lot of bets, a lot of prop bets, that's what you're imagining is the over. I got the over 51.5 points. The Lions offense does what they do. They do whatever they want at will. They're going to score 31 points in this game. Easy. The Steelers, on the other hand, they've been playing great on the offensive side. They got a shitty defense. They've been playing great on the offensive side of the ball. Rodgers is finding his stride. I'm going over 51.5. I'm going the Lions. I'm doing another first quarter bet. I'm doing the Lions minus 1.5 points in the first quarter. This is the 7th leg of my 8-leg parlay. Over 27.5 receiving yards for that fella Gainwell. This is somewhere where they're going to be down. I think the Steelers are going to be down the majority of this game. They're going to be looking for quick, easy passes to get yards. He's going to get enough what he needs to do done. He's going to get well over. Gainwell is going to go well over 27.5 receiving yards. That's the 7th leg of the 8-leg parlay. And then we got Gibbs. 2 touchdowns. Gibbs to get in there twice. What's been happening with him as of the last 6 or 7, maybe 8 weeks is he gets 0 touchdowns, he gets 3 touchdowns. He gets 0 touchdowns, he gets 3 touchdowns. How many touchdowns did he get last week? 0. How many touchdowns is he going to get this week? It's looking like 3. We'll at least get it for 2. I think he's going to get 2. The Steelers are bad against the run. Gibbs 2 touchdowns. That's only plus 195 for him to get 2 touchdowns. That's what made me want to do it even more. Man, I'm scared. I'm scared because I had all these fucking picks, and oh man, I'm scared. I'm very scared. Okay, moving on. Just 2 more. I mean, we'll do what we need to do. At the very end of this, I want people to throw in their fantasy football questions. I know you got them. I didn't get any fantasy football questions yet. If you got them, throw them out there. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Wait a second. We're just looking at the right things here. Okay. Moving on, moving forward. 2 more games. Raiders at Texans. Texans minus 14.5 points at home. The over-under is 38.5. God. the Raiders. I hope you did my mortal lock last week because it was more lock than a lock itself. It's more lock than your front door during Christmas when you go out for your family party. You gotta leave your home alone with all the presents in there. That's how much of a lock that mortal lock was last week. 31-0. And I'm afraid that I'm going back for more. The Raiders had 75 yards of total offense last week. 75 yards against a decent Eagles defense. They're going against the best defense in the NFL. One of the best defenses I think we've seen in years. The little glimmer of hope that they have is Geno Smith is coming back. Is that a hopeful statement? Geno Smith is coming back. He's got a shoulder and a back injury. I don't even imagine he's going to stay in for this whole game. Man, this is scary. So I have a lot of things playing out today. I have that 8-leg parlay, but I mean it's $10. What is really going on is every Friday I work with these guys and we get together on a call and we say, let's do a 3-leg parlay. There's 3 of us. Each of us pick a leg. One guy had Alabama on Friday night. That hit. One guy had Miami yesterday. That hit. And then those guys are the college football guys. I'm the NFL guy of the group. And this is what I decided our last leg of the parlay would be on. The Texans minus 14.5 points. I mean, it's ugly. The Texans, they're not a team that should be getting 14.5 points. No team in the NFL should be getting 14.5 points, but that's how bad the Raiders are. That's how doo-doo caca they are. They are so poo-poo crappy that it hurts. I mean, this is a game where the Texans defense, what I always like to say is I like to hear the sights and sounds between Sunday and Sunday. What happened between last Sunday and this Sunday that makes me feel comfortable about a certain pick? And I know the Texans were actually upset. They won by like 20 outing and ass kick, going to be running up the score, trying to really tack it on. And this is when they start doing nice things for nice guys. I like Nick Chubb to get in the end zone for them. Give me a little bit of a chubby when he does. That's plus 120 for him to get a touchdown. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go plus 120 on a Chubb touchdown because I think they're going to be up a lot. And then this is a guy that came back from a gruesome injury. He's a good guy. He keeps to himself. He doesn't do anything we don't like. He's coachable. Let's get him in the end zone. All right. Going to the last game. The last game of this Sunday slate of Week 16 of the 2025 NFL season, Tea Time Tailgate. This is, if you are a Tony Murr and Tea Time fan, on Thursday, we pick our Tony's Game of the Week. Tony's, would you look at that Game of the Weekend? And this is the Game of the Weekend. And they save it for the little cherry on top. Last game, waiting all day for Sunday night. Night game, New England Patriots at Baltimore Ravens. Ravens minus 3.5 points at home. Over under 48.5 points. Man, the Patriots had an abysmal loss last week. To be up 21-0, even when they were up 21-0, I knew this game's not over. And I think that's how afraid everyone should be of the Bills at this point. Josh Allen does what he wants on a football field. I don't even think we played that bad. It's just Josh Allen, being the best player in football, in my opinion. I think Stafford's having a great season, but I think that team of the Rams, they put a lot of other guys in quarterback. They have a great season. This Bills team, if it's not Josh Allen, they're bottom of the NFL. I think he deserves the MVP. He is so damn good. So I don't even really blame the Patriots for. I mean, no, they deserve some blame. To lose a 21-point lead is really bad. The Ravens, on the other hand, they've been back and forth all season. It looked like their season was done earlier, and they're kind of inching their way back into the playoff picture. They need this game. They need this game way more than the Patriots do. The Patriots are still looking for the 1 seed, but we're pretty much secure in this playoff spot. The Ravens, on the other hand, they can't afford to lose many other games. They can't afford to lose this one. This line keeps moving. It was minus 2.5 for the Ravens at first. Now it's minus 3.5. If it was minus 2.5, I would tell you to bet the Ravens. I I hate to say it. This is not something I'm going to bet because obviously I'm rooting for the Patriots. Um, but I would the Ravens minus 2.5. I think they win this game. I really do. I was supposed to go to this game. I said before the season started when the schedule came out. I went to school in Baltimore. I've gone to more Ravens games than Patriots games just because it's something to do when you're down there. They have a great tailgate scene, probably better than the Patriots tailgate scene. The stadium's right in the city. You go to a bar, you walk right to the stadium. You don't really do that. You got to go all the way to Foxborough around here. Um, I was supposed to go to this game, didn't end up working out. Other things came up as they do. I'm kind of bummed that I'm not there, especially because this got flexed to the night game. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't like 3.5. I don't like laying 3.5 with the Ravens. I think they could win by 3. What I do like, because a couple weeks ago, if these teams faced off, the over-under would not be in the 40s. It would be in the 50s. Both these teams have good offenses. The Ravens' defense has actually been playing really, really well recently. This is my first and only under bet of the day. I like the under in this one. I like under 48.5 points. Man, I'm nervous about it. It's going to be fun, though. It's going to be a fun game to root for. This is a guy that I think is going to find the end zone for them. He's got juicy odds, too. It's not the running back that you're going to think I'm going to say. You think I'm going to say Henderson? I'm going to say Stevenson, that other son. I'm hearing a lot of Diggs talk, too. I'm hearing a lot of Diggs talk, but I'm going to go Stevenson touchdown, plus 210 on him. I like the odds. All right, that concludes the Sunday slate of football for us. I'll take fantasy football questions at the end if there's anyone out there, but I have to get to the most important segment of the Tea Time Tailgate, the Mortal Locks. I'd like to point out my record here, 10-4. 10-4, 10-4 on the Mortal Locks. It's been a good season. The Mortal Locks have been doing me right. What I did was I placed a $100 bet on Monday night last week during the Tea Time Tailgate. That hit. And then I hit another one. And then I hit another one. I have $650 to play with in the FanDuel account because I just been winning and winning and winning. And I'm throwing this all, it's already been thrown on, this mortal lock right here. So I'm really mortaling with this lock. It's do or die on this mortal. So when it comes to this game, this is a game that is often forgot about. This is a game that you look at and say, both these teams got red. I don't even know the difference between them because there barely is any. Both these teams are out of playoff contention. This game is probably not going to grace your television at all, but this is where money can be made. If you watched last week in primetime, Kirk Cousins had his way with the football. He's throwing this way. He's throwing that way. He was finding anyone he wanted, and he was doing it right. And this guy, Kirky, he's playing for a contract next year. He wants to get signed again. He's not done playing football. The Atlanta Falcons are certainly done with him. He's not done playing football. He's playing for his football life this Sunday. And if you saw him play last week, you saw how much he cared. He was yelling at guys, getting guys in the right position. He wants it. They're playing the Arizona Cardinals, another shitty football team. If you watched any Cardinals football lately, they throw the ball around. They move the ball. And Jacoby Brissett, say what you want about the guy, he's going to be throwing the ball. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. back in this game. They got, who's that guy? They got Drake London back for the Falcons. Oh, man, it seems so obvious that it hurts. I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyways. Ride along with me. This is the final leg of the parlay. This is my mortal lock. Over 48.5 points in the Falcons-Cardinals game. Let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's go 11-4. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. That is the end of the Tea Time Tailgate. I will accept any questions. I am out of the fantasy playoffs, so I am bitter about fantasy football. I'm in 3 leagues. I made it to the playoffs in 2 of them. I was the 6th seed in both of those, and I lost both of those. One I lost by about 30. The other one I lost by about 14. It hurt. I hate being done. That's how the cookie crumbles. The other league, so it's a 14-man league, the league that I didn't make the playoffs in. And what happens is the bottom four teams, which I unfortunately was one of those teams, they play for the toilet bowl where you have to do a beer mile at the next year's draft. And also you have to help plan the draft, which always sucks. Did not want to do that. Luckily escaped that. Um, then what we have to root for today is my brother. He's in the fantasy playoffs of my league, of the family league. I say my league because I'm the commissioner, so I'm gonna be rooting for him. I'm gonna be rooting against my guy Nate. I invited him into the family league. He won last year in his first year, and my family is dying for him to lose. They just says anyone but Nate, anyone but Nate. So I'm gonna be rooting against his team today. So I still have a little bit of fantasy going, but it just ain't gonna be my teams. I think this is as good a point as ever to end it. This was another edition of the Tea Time Tailgate, Week 16. I want everyone out there to enjoy their football Sundays. Week 16, like I said, there's not many of these weeks left, so enjoy it while you can. Get together with friends, have a couple cervezas, just enjoy this little football thing. Have a great day, and as always,